Hello everyone, this is Glenda Winkleman and welcome back to Stitch of the Week. This is number 239, Spring Lace. This is a very quick and easy stitch pattern. It's a 2-row repeat and it's excellent for these new spring summer afghans where you just want something light and airy but still have a little bit of warmth to them. Now this pattern here is a multiple of 4 plus 3. Now I have 4 samples to show you because I really enjoyed doing this stitch and I really wanted to see, how creative I could be with this one. Now this one I change colors every row. This sample I used Red Heart Super Saver White and I also used Red Heart Super Saver in Ocean number 995, a multicolored blue and just a very, very pretty multicolor. So this was my first sample. The second sample I made using Red Heart Retro Stripes. This is a Super Saver striped yarn. You can see it's a multicolored. I did notice that when I made this sample, this here Super Saver stripe is almost between a worsted and a lightweight. It just wasn't as thick as the other yarn was. So this is my sample using a multicolor. You can't notice the pattern as well, but you can see it's kind of airy, just nice little pattern. My third sample is my classic white pattern. I always do a sample in classic white. Such an elegant way to just add some elegance to any room, bedroom, chair, couch. So this is the pattern done in the white. And this is Red Heart Super Saver worsted weight yarn. And then I made a sample where I change colors every 2 rows. So this yarn here was, I never tried this yarn before and I just tried it and I absolutely love it. It's Stitch Studio Classic by Nicole. It's a worsted weight yarn. Very, very affordable. This is a 7-ounce skein. Let me zoom out a little. This is a 7-ounce skein, and this yarn is only like $2.90 a skein. A very, very nice value. This is purchased at A.C. Moore craft stores. The other color I chose, this again is Stitch Studio Classic by Nicole. This was called Impressions. This is number 7523. A very, very pretty yarn, and you can see how it works up here. So it's nice to see how some of these yarns work up. And I did find that the Studio Classic by Nicole, it's a really nice, heavy, fluffy, soft as can be yarn and so well worth the money. So if you get to go into an A.C. Moore store, check out their basic line of Studio Classic. You won't regret it. Very, very, very nice yarn to work with. And then this pattern again, I worked 1 row of the white to get the pattern started. And then I change colors every 2 rows. So very, very nice, pretty pattern no matter how you want to do it. It just works up so nice. Just a nice little pattern. This is one of those TV patterns I call it where it's a no-brainer. You just sit there. Once you get the hang of doing this pattern, you'll whip right through it. So these are my 4 samples. Again, this is a pattern with a multiple of 4 plus 3. So for our sample, if you're going to crochet along and learn this stitch with me, you're going to need a worsted weight yarn. I'm going to use just 1 color for this video. And then I used a size, I got to put it in my camera because I forgot my glasses. Let me see what size this is. It's a I9 5.5, there we go, I9 5.5 millimeter hook. So get your yarn, get your hook, and you need to chain 31. I'll get my chain 31 ready and I'll be right back to get this stitch started. I have my chain 31 ready and I chose the Red Heart Super Saver in the color Turquoise 512. Beautiful, beautiful shade of blue. So to start the pattern, we're going to skip the first 2 chain and we're going to start our bobble in the 3rd chain from hook. So the first chain 2 counts as the first half double crochet half worked. So all we need to do in the 3rd chain is work a double crochet. So yarn over the hook, insert it into that 3rd chain from hook, yarn over the hook, pull it through that chain. You have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over the hook, pull it through 2 loops only, yarn over the hook and pull it through 2 loops. You made your first bobble stitch of row 1. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to make our second bobble stitch in the same chain, and we are using a 2 double crochet bobble stitch. Bobble stitches can have 3, 4, 5. I chose to use just 2. So yarn over the hook, you're going to insert it into the same chain that you just worked. Yarn over the hook, pull it through that chain. You have 3 loops on hook. Yarn over the hook and pull it through 2 loops only. You have 2 loops on your hook and they remain on your hook. Now we're going to work 1 more double crochet half worked, all in the same chain space. So yarn over the hook, insert it into that same chain stitch, yarn over the hook, pull it through that stitch. You have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over the hook, pull it through 2 loops only. You have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over the hook and pull it through all 3 loops on your hook. You just made your first bobble shell stitch. So this is basically what we're going to do across row 1 for our base row. So we're going to skip the next 3 chain, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to work a bobble, chain 3, and a bobble stitch all in this next chain. So yarn over the hook, skip that next 3 chain, 1, 2, 3, insert your hook into that 4th chain, yarn over the hook, pull it through that chain. You have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over the hook, pull it through 2 loops only. You have 2 loops on your hook and they stay on your hook. So now we're going to work our second double crochet half worked. Yarn over the hook, insert it into that same chain space, yarn over the hook, pull it through the chain space. You have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over the hook and pull it through 2 loops only. You just worked your second double crochet half worked. So now yarn over the hook and you're going to pull it through all 3 loops on hook, and you just made your first bobble of your next bobble shell stitch. You're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. You're going to yarn over the hook. You're going to insert it into that same chain space, chain stitch. Insert your hook, yarn over the hook, pull it through. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over the hook and pull it through 2 loops only. You just worked your first double crochet half worked of that second part of that shell. Yarn over the hook, insert it into that same chain stitch. Yarn over the hook and pull it through that chain stitch. You have 4 loops on hook. Yarn over the hook and pull it through 2 loops only. You just made 2 double crochet half worked. Yarn over the hook and pull it through all 3 loops on hook, and you just made your next bobble shell stitch. So that's your repeat across. I will show you one more time. Yarn over the hook. You're going to skip the next 3 chain, 1, 2, 3. You're going to insert into that 4th chain, yarn over the hook, pull it through that chain stitch. You have 3 loops on hook. Yarn over the hook, pull it through 2 loops only. Your first double crochet is half worked. The 2 loops remain on your hook. Yarn over the hook, insert it into that same chain stitch. Yarn over the hook, pull it through the stitch. You have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over the hook and pull it through 2 loops. You have 2 double crochet half worked. Yarn over the hook and pull it through all 3 loops on your hook, and your first bobble of the next shell stitch is made. You're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. You're going to work your second half of your shell stitch. So we're going to make another bobble stitch, yarn over the hook, insert it into that same chain stitch that you just worked, yarn over the hook, pull it through the stitch, 3 loops on hook, yarn over the hook, pull it through 2 loops only. You have 2 loops on your hook, you have 1 double crochet half worked, and the 2 loops remain on your hook. Yarn over the hook, insert it into that same chain stitch, yarn over the hook, pull it through that chain stitch. You have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over the hook, pull it through 2 loops only. You have 2 double crochet half worked, yarn over the hook, and pull it through all 3 loops on your hook. You just made your second bobble stitch of your next bobble shell. So that's all there is to it, to your repeat. So you'll repeat that across, and your last bobble shell will be worked in the last chain. The pattern comes out where you'll be working your last bobble shell in your last chain. So go ahead and work across row 1, and I will meet you at the end of row 1. I'm over at the end of my row, and I always like to stop and show how I end my row. So you should end with 4 chain remaining. So yarn over the hook, skip those next 3 chain and insert your hook into that last chain and work your first bobble stitch. You're going to chain 3, and then you're going to work your next bobble stitch in that same ending chain to form your shell stitch. Okay, I caught my yarn there. So this is what row 1 should look like. You just have your bobble shells running across the row. So we're going to turn our work and start row 2. You do not chain when you turn. You're going to take your hook and you're going to insert it into that beginning chain 3 space, yarn over the hook, pull it through that chain 3 space and pull it through your loop on your hook. You just slip stitched in the chain 3 space, and that's where we want to start because we're going to be working in the chain 3 spaces of each shell across. So we just slip stitched into our first chain 3 space of our first bobble shell. We're going to chain 1. We're going to single crochet, insert your hook into that same chain 3 space, yarn over the hook, pull it through that space. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over the hook and pull it through 2 loops. You just made your first single crochet. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to insert our hook into that same beginning chain 3 space, and we're going to work a single crochet. Insert your hook through that space, yarn over the hook, pull it through, 2 loops on hook, yarn over the hook and pull it through. You just made a single crochet, chain 3, and a single crochet all in the center of that beginning bobble shell stitch. So all we're going to do for row 2 is you're going to jump over to the next chain 3 space of that next shell stitch, our next bobble shell. Here's your chain 3 space. Insert your hook right in the center of that chain 3 space and work a single crochet. You're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to work a single crochet. I'll show you one more time. Look for your next bobble shell stitch and look for the chain 3 space right in the center of that shell. You're going to insert your hook into that chain 3 space in the center of that bobble shell, yarn over the hook, pull it through that space. You have 2 loops on hook, yarn over the hook, pull it through 2 loops. You just made your first single crochet. You're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. You're going to work another single crochet on this same chain 3 space of the center of that shell. Insert your hook, yarn over the hook, pull it through that chain 3 space, 2 loops on hook, yarn over the hook, and pull it through 2 loops. That's all there is to row 2. I will meet you at the end in this chain 3 space and show you how to finish the row. I'm over at the end of row 2. It's a pretty quick row. We're going to insert into the chain 3 space of our last bobble shell across our row. So insert into that chain 3 space, work a single crochet, chain 3, and a single crochet all in that last chain 3 space of that last bobble shell. You just finished row 2, and this is what your row should look like. You can see how lacy it is. Nice little spring lacy design. So row 2 was the beginning of our repeat row. Like I said, very simple pattern. We're going to turn our work, and you do not chain when you turn. So we turned our work. We're going to take our hook and we're going to insert it into that beginning chain 3 space, skip the beginning single crochet and insert into this chain 3 space, yarn over the hook and pull it through the chain 3 space and then pull it through the loop on your hook. You just slip stitched in the chain 3 space, and that's where we want to start our new row. So row 3 is basically the same as row 1. We're going to be working a bobble stitch shell, where we're going to work a bobble stitch, chain 3 bobble stitch in the center of each V-stitch in this chain 3 space, and each chain 3 space across. So you're just alternating a row of the single crochet V-stitch and then a row of the bobble shell stitch. Very, very simple, easy pattern. So to start the row, we're going to chain 2, which is the first double crochet half worked. Yarn over the hook, and we're going to work a double crochet into the same beginning chain 3 space, and this forms our first bobble stitch. And like I said, the first bobble stitch of the row is made differently because you need that chain 2 space to begin your row. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. We need to work one more bobble stitch in the same beginning chain 3 space to make our bobble shell. Yarn over the hook, insert it into that same chain 3 space, and work your bobble. I just worked my first double crochet half worked. Yarn over the hook. I'm going to work my second double crochet half worked. You should have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over the hook and pull it through 3 loops, and you just made your first bobble shell. I'll show you one more time. You're going to find your next chain 3 space in the center of that next V-stitch, single crochet V-stitch, which is here. Just follow your bobble shell up. You're going to work in each one of the chain 3 spaces across, so find your next chain 3 space, yarn over the hook, insert it into that chain 3 space, yarn over the hook, pull it through the chain 3 space, 3 loops on hook, yarn over the hook, pull it through 2 loops only, first double crochet half worked of the first bobble of our shell, yarn over the hook, insert it into that same chain 3 space, yarn over the hook, pull it through the space, yarn over the hook, pull it through 2 loops only. You have 3 loops, 2 double crochet half worked, 3 loops on hook, yarn over the hook and pull it through all 3 loops. Your first bobble is made of your next bobble shell. Chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. We need to make one more bobble in the same chain 3 space to make our shell stitch. So yarn over the hook, insert it into that same chain 3 space, yarn over the hook, pull it through the space, 3 loops on hook, yarn over the hook and pull it through 2 loops only. You have 2 loops on your hook, and your first double crochet half worked is made of your second bobble. We need to make one more double crochet half worked, yarn over the hook, insert it into that same chain 3 space, yarn over the hook, pull it through that chain 3 space. You have 4 loops on the hook, yarn over the hook, pull it through 2 loops only. You have your second double crochet half worked, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over the hook, and pull it through all 3 loops. That is how you make your bobble shell stitch. So go ahead and repeat that over. You're going to work a bobble, a chain 3, and a bobble shell, all in each one of the chain 3 spaces of each V-stitch across. I will meet you at the last chain 3 space of that last stitch and show you how to end the row. I'm over at the end of row 3. I have one more bobble shell stitch to make in my end V-stitch. So the end of your row should look like this. You can see your bobble shell down here, and you can see your single crochet V-stitch here. So I'm going to go ahead and work my bobble stitch in that last chain 3 space of that last single crochet V-stitch. So I'm working my first bobble of the shell. I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to work my last bobble in this last chain 3 space to make my bobble shell. It's my first half double crochet half worked. There's my second double crochet half work, 3 loops on hook, yarn over the hook, and pull through all 3 loops. I just finished row 3, and this is what your work should look like. So when you're getting ready to turn your work, rows 2 and 3 are your repeat pattern. You're just going to turn your work and you do not chain. You'll do that in every row, just turn your work. And when you start each row, you're going to insert into that beginning chain 3 space of the first V-stitch or bobble stitch. In this case, it's the bobble shell. So insert into that chain 3 space, yarn over the hook, and pull it through all loops on your hook. Pull it through the chain 3 space and the loop on your hook. You just slip stitched in the chain 3 space of where you're going to begin to start your row. So for this pattern, you're just going to keep repeating rows 2 and 3 for however long you want to make what you're making. And you should end with row 3. You will start with well, it's the bobble shell, and then you'll want to work and end with a bobble shell. So this is what we did. Let me show you my samples again. This is, let me zoom out. This is the sample where I changed colors. I did the first row in white, and then I started with my single crochet V-stitch, and I worked and changed colors every 2 rows with this pattern. And then the pattern we just done, this shows it up a little more. It's a little bit nicer to show you. You worked your bobble shell, and then row 2 is the beginning of your repeat. You work the single crochet V-stitch, and then you come back in row 3 and worked your bobble shell, and then you repeat rows 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. So if you're not sure, if you didn't quite get it and you're unsure, just click back, start at row 2 again, and follow the video right up to row 2 and 3. Do it as many times as you need until you get the gist of how to do the pattern. Very nice, very lacy, and again, the classic white. To get a copy of this pattern, just go to creativegrandma.net. At the top of my webpage, on the right hand corner at the top, you'll see a little banner that says Stitch of the Week. If you click on that banner, it takes you right to my Stitch of the Week page. If you click on the photo, it takes you right to my YouTube video and shows you how to make the stitch pattern. And if you click on the name of the stitch, it takes you to the page where you can download the free downloadable pattern right to your computer, and you can get started right away on making this stitch. So thank you, everyone. I had a lot of fun today making this quick and easy stitch pattern with you and spending some time crocheting. So please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and happy crocheting, everybody.